I just got done watching for the first time in many, many years the movie Stay Tuned. Anybody that's been watching this channel for any length of time may notice that I reference old dumb comedies. I like the Mel Brooks movies, I like the Zucker films like Airplane and The Naked Gun. I like old slapstick comedies. I did a review on The Stupids recently, starring Tom Arnold. This is one of those movies that I remembered liking back in the day, and I haven't seen it for a really, really long time. So I thought, hey, this would be a good opportunity to go back and take a look.
Of our new contestants, Roy and Helen Nabo!
See if it's as funny as I remember. Well, unfortunately, it really isn't as funny as I remember, but I had a good time watching it all the same.
And now, get in shape with the exercises.
Very good. Very nice. I like it.
I don't really know if a spoiler warning is appropriate here because there really aren't going to be any spoilers per se. The plot of the movie is pretty straightforward. You kind of know from the first few minutes how the movie's going to go. It doesn't really have any big major plot reveals or surprises. The point of the movie is to give you parodies of television shows and movies that were popular in the early 90s when this movie came out. And that's one thing that holds the movie back a little bit, where it does not stand the test of time. It's extremely dated, has a lot of funny references to things that if you knew about them, you'd get what they're talking about. But a new viewer of this movie, somebody born after the 90s had already ended, would wonder what the hell was being parodied.
Welcome to Northern Overexposure, the story of a young doctor from New York who comes to Alaska, complains about everything, and freezes to death.
Might be funny on its own, but usually it's better if you know what they're referring to. And if you weren't around in the early 90s, if you've never heard of shows like Different Strokes,
All of a sudden, I can't see anything.
Sundays at 8, Different Strokes.
if you've never heard of or watched a lot of the things being referenced, it'll just go right over your head.
Nothing goes over my head. My reflexes are too fast. I would catch it.
But it's still a solid movie. The plot centers around John Ritter's character, who is a television addict. He watches endless amounts of television to the point where it's hurting his marriage, it's hurting his relationship with his kids. And then a television salesperson shows up at just the right or wrong time, depending upon how you look at it, and sells him a new satellite dish television system. The catch is he sold his soul to the devil. And you get sucked into the television, and the devil watches you suffer and get humiliated, and you try to escape death. If you survive 24 hours, you get returned to Earth, but nobody makes it out alive. So this guy and his wife get sucked into the TV, and they go from horrible thing to horrible thing, but they're really just parodies of stuff that existed at the time. They ended up on Wayne's World, but it's Dwayne's Underworld. They end up in an old Western, which is like a Clint Eastwood movie. They have to survive each of these little things, and so you get these little mini parodies where it's the thing you recognize, but with an evil twist to it. One thing that I thought was kind of fun about watching this movie, there's a bit of a scavenger hunt with the number 666. Anybody who's ever listened to Iron Maiden knows that that's the number of the beast. If you watch this movie, you're going to see 666 on license plates, on hockey jerseys, on television screens. This guy gets 666 channels on his TV. That number is all over the place, and it's kind of a fun little thing to watch for. The movie has sort of the tone of a Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, where there's some peril with the family, but it's kind of cartoonish. Nobody ever is really afraid. It's not scary, but there's real peril. Their life is threatened, but it's mostly for the sake of comedy. Oh, look at this funny version of the TV show I've seen before. Oh, they're on Star Trek. Set phasers to torture.
Phasers on, torture.
Just ridiculous stuff like that. Jeffrey Jones plays the main villain who's controlling the television station, and he really wants to keep this family in the evil programming. And he's the main villain. He apparently works for the devil, and he's trying to keep this family in there. But he is a great character actor. I know he had his controversy. He's on the sex offender registry. His career kind of is over. But back in the day, he actually put in good performances as villainous characters, and this is a memorable role for him. I think he's perfectly cast in the movie. John Ritter in the movie is great. May he rest in peace. I felt the movie had just an overall fun tone. Some of the jokes don't land. Some of the jokes are just, hey, this looks like a thing I remember, which isn't really a joke. But I have to tell you, watching the movie, I had a smile on my face the whole time. It was an enjoyable watch. Now, as a Christian believer, I would have to say that if you had an experience like this family did, where you are shown that the devil is an absolute real character, a real thing, having an experience like that might change your perspective on religion. But again, I get it. This is fantasy. This is fiction. This is for the sake of comedy. This is not to be taken seriously. It's just fun. It's harmless, dumb fun. And if you like harmless, dumb fun, this movie is probably going to be fun for you. I'd say the older you are, the more you'll probably enjoy it, if you get the references. If you don't get the references, the movie might kind of stink for you. But anyway, that's my opinion. I enjoy it. I have enough gray hair on my chin where I recognize most of the things being referenced in this. I would appreciate your suggestions. What movies would you like me to watch next? I'm open to doing reviews and reactions to all kinds of different things. Thank you very much for stopping by the Reaction Lounge channel. Until next time, thank you very much.